Welcome back and thank you for staying with News Diary. Now I want us to cross over to our sister station, Spice FM, and they're having a conversation on the finance bill. Specifically, is it political or goodwill? And they're discussing this with Farah Malim, who is an MP of Dadaab. So let's cross over live and listen in.
Yes. And then it's, you've been there. 32 years on and off in Parliament. Yeah. You're experienced. Yeah. When you looked at what the people were saying during the public participation stage of the finance bill, the various sectors came and presented to the finance committee.
Yes.
And they said what they had an issue with.
Yes.
And even what they were proposing would either be added or deleted in the finance bill. And also members of the public were coming out ahead of even the second reading of this finance bill. Some are still continuing, and now there's still public outcry. There will be protests in the streets today. When you listen to the people who are still talking about the finance bill now, what are you hearing them say?
Frankly, you want my honest opinion on this?
Yes.
Ask them exactly what it is. They'll tell you, either they just mention the things that I've told you will all be removed this morning. The 16, 17, 18 clauses that are going to be removed. Issues on bread, issues on pads, issues on all those ones. They'll either talk about that, or they just say, we don't want any amendments, just get rid of it. Now, that itself, we're not in a state of anarchy. There's a government in place. We have a system. It doesn't work anywhere else like that. And let me tell you one thing. In the 7th Parliament, we had budget used to be read in the House, and the president used to be there.
Yeah.
So opposition sides really used that opportunity, not finding faults with the budget itself, but to say that we are in a dictatorship and these things, and we will not allow this budget to be read. Simple as that. We'll use our presence in the House itself to get so chaotic, and the budget will not be read. And then, of course, there was a bit of a fracas. And I was one of the most vocal, vociferous,
You were extremely vocal.
Extremely vocal
Yes.
opposition members of parliament. So then some guys said, let's take, and I wouldn't mention names, but we were with all sorts of good friends all the days. Let's take the mess and throw it out. I told them, my friends, this is what validates us.
As a parliament.
As a parliament. That mess is a symbol of a working institution called parliament. You remove that, parliament ceases to have that authority. But Moi still retains his position as the president of the country and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And those days he had the powers to dissolve parliament. He can still rule and put us all in prison and do whatever he wants. Now that we have a window of us changing this country for the better, let us not become children and get chaotic and try and destroy our own dignity. So I remember there was an MP from Mpakasi, a petite guy, I tried to remember the name, who wanted to lift that. I rushed and I told him no. The other person who rushed?
Mwenje.
No, I know it was not Mwenje. Mwenje was not in that parliament.
Mwenje came later.
Yeah. He was before and then he came later also.
Later.
Yeah, and no, there was another MP. I'm trying to remember his name. He was petite and a bit... probably in his 50s even those days. Kibaki and the late Dr. Banaya Godana, who was basically in the government side. Kibaki rushed and said, don't touch the mess. He's still in the position. Don't touch. We can bang the things, the tables those days, make a lot of noise. You know what I mean? We can do what we want. And Mudavadi was the Minister for Finance. He rose up there and he read nobody was listening to him, but he read all the budget. And they walked away. And Moi was there. Moi was sitting there, pensive, just, looking at us like this. So what I'm basically trying to say is that we're not now, Gen Z, children who very well, some of them well educated, but young. And by the way, you better have a bad government than have anarchy. Because when you have an anarchy, there's no government.
So what you're hearing is...
And now people are saying, we're having a revolution. This is the kind of stories I hear out there. There's a revolution coming.
Ashimeo, let's cast our eyes back.
Yes.
If what we're seeing now
Yes.
was taking place when you're a young MP, where would you have stood
I would have, to be honest to you,
Yes.
I was a very young MP.
at that point in time?
And I really had, basically, I took time I used to read a lot. I was an avid reader of how the House of Commons and Parliaments and Constitutions and all this work. I went to, as far back as the early 90s, went to Temple University and sat down with the best constitutional professor. He's now deceased, you know what I mean? So basically, when you go out of the box and not just get agitated and irritated and try and put a lot of knowledge into your mind, if I was there today, what's happening, I would have still said, no, we're making a mistake. Let's go progressively. Let us work within the rules of democracy itself and the constitution itself and what do you call the laws that we have in place.
What they're doing now
Because,
is
okay,
outside of the rules of democracy and the law.
Let me tell you.
What is outside the
Let me
rules
tell
of
you.
democracy?
Do you know right now the Prime Minister of the UK is the most unpopular Prime Minister in the modern history of the UK? Rishi Sunak.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard a British saying that we're going to go and occupy number 10 Downing Street?
Not yet.
Have you ever heard them saying that we are going to go and occupy the House of Commons
Not
or the
yet.
House of Lords? No, you don't do that. You don't do that. But you see, the West doesn't mind that happening. You get my point? When you have a semblance of system, let that system leave the scene through a process that's accepted.
Even if it may be seen as though what is happening may be oppressive in nature when it comes to the livelihood of Kenyans.
Odu,
No, I'm asking a question. I think it must be.
I'm going to answer you. I'm going to answer you.
Okay, let me ask it this way so that I would like to get an answer from you. You're saying stick within the processes of what would be democracy. So you're talking about the legislature here when we talk about representation.
Absolutely.
You have a people over which this representation happens. You have a people for which this legislation happens. And here there is a people who is saying that we are not satisfied with what is happening. But what I hear you saying is that whether you're not satisfied or whether you're not happy, just allow the process to continue. And then when they're done, after 5 years, then you can bring on an issue. So what exactly are you saying?
Listen.
I would like to know.
That's what I'm going to tell you. That's what
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. What's the other option? A revolution.
But what we have now is not a revolution.
No.
They're not calling for revolution.
Can I just say? Take it from me, the day. Do you know Donald Trump might not be allowed to run for the elections right now? For one primary reason. For telling his supporters to go and occupy the Congress. And do you know that the bulk of those people who occupied the Congress are in prison today? You don't touch the institutions and the system that gives you the opportunity to show outrage, to choose leaders. You have all those powers. The sovereignty of this country is domiciled in the people of Kenya, but operationalized through the elected representatives. Kenyans have one opportunity every 5 years to exercise that sovereignty and decide who is going to rule them. In the absence of that, you see, when I choose him as our next president, and he comes up with very lousy, very bad policies, we can demonstrate in the streets. There's no question about that. I have no problem with that. You see, there's a million man march right now in all the major American cities against Gaza. You think that million would not have walked into White House or walked into the Congress itself? They can't.
So is that what you're hearing, Farah?
That's what I'm hearing.
When you hear
what I'm
people
trying to
saying
say.
that when they hear all this agitation,
Yes,
what you're hearing
Yes.
is that people want to go and occupy parliament.
exactly.
That's
what
what-
it says.
that's
They're
all you're
there.
hearing.
They're there. They're
But what are the
saying,
reasons
occupy
for that?
Parliament.
What
Is
are
that
the
all
reasons
you're
that have
hearing?
led to that?
Just a moment.
Is that all you're hearing?
That's all I'm hearing.
Really?
Actually, substantively, when you look at it right now, they say it's a bad bill.
Okay.
It's a bad bill. You know, it's a bad bill. It's a good bill. Whatever it is a statement. You're not saying we have this problem. We have this problem.
They're not saying it's a bad bill. They're not ending there. They're saying reject.
That's
the
the point.
finance
That's the
bill.
point.
Now,
Who has the powers to reject?
Parliament.
Not you from what do you call the Spice FM?
Parliament has the-
Parliament.
Or from the
Parliament
streets.
has the power.
Parliament.
Allow Parliament to function independently.
Who
of anybody.
represents the people?
Yes.
Parliament represents these same people who are
Absolutely.
saying that there's
Absolutely.
dissatisfaction that
Absolutely.
they have found in this thing.
Absolutely.
So the question is...
The majority-
No, please, Farah.
Yes.
The question is,
Yes.
is Parliament hearing what the people are
Yes.
saying
Yes.
that they're unsatisfied with
Yes.
when it comes to their representation? Is that being heard? You seem to not hear it.
Can I tell you something, Odu? Parliament is hearing that. And you know what they say?
They're saying we don't care.
No. Everything is under control. It's our business to run this thing. And you're telling them a 25-year-old kid is saying, no, my MP is lousy, is bad, is this kind of things. You think 204 people, all of them elected by the same people who are running around right now.
345.
Listen,
204 who voted yes.
204 who voted are all fools.
No, that is not what
Why
we're saying.
why do you assume that there's a moral high ground in the eyes of those who have been, and other people will tell you all these boys who are running around have been sent and been paid, and I don't want to say that myself.
Mheshimiwa.
But let's assume for argument's sake, and you think that they have a better moral high ground than 204 guys who are out there.
Do you think the 1,000 who are saying, listen to us?
Why did you
say?
elect them in the first place? I didn't elect them. Ruto did not elect them. What do you call the chairman of the Committee of Finance did not elect them?
And that's
It's
the
same
question.
people.
And that's the question they're asking. Why did we elect
wait
them?
for your moment to get rid of them? You try to do it right now. How do you do it? Through a revolution?
So you asked them to keep quiet?
but-
They should not speak out?
No.
Farah, this is not a revolution.
Demonstrate within the law.
Farah,
If
this
you
is-
don't want to use the law, you don't have the instruments of power.
They
Yes,
are
they
allowed
have.
to demonstrate as
Yeah,
far
yeah,
as the
yeah,
law.
yeah.
They are.
No, I have no problem.
The people
I have
who
no
are in
problem
Mombasa
with
on
them
Tuesday,
demonstrating
last
all over
week-
the town.
Last week on Tuesday, there were people in Mombasa.
Yes.
There were people in Garissa.
Yes.
In Nyeri, in Nakuru, in Kisumu,
Yeah.
in Eldoret, in Kakamega,
Yeah.
in Nairobi, not near Parliament, other parts of Nairobi.
Yes.
Those ones who are doing it lawfully, were they not?
Nobody touched them. Have they been in
Oh, yes,
prison?
some were charged.
A few of them are in prison.
One
but
was
the rest
killed.
of them ran out. One, eh?
One was killed. Another one died later from injuries inflicted by a police officer.
okay.
All right, there were injuries and maims. This happened.
It happens, yes.
You're a lawyer. Let's go into Parliament.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The people who have sent representatives to Parliament are speaking to their representatives, and they're saying, we want you to listen to us. We do not like what's contained in these taxation proposals. We'd like you to have a critical look at it and, if possible, reject it. Is that legitimate? Is it not? Just yes or no?
It's good. That's,
Okay.
That's accepted.
Let me
legitimate,
continue.
yes. And then
Again.
leave it to that person who you have come and approached.
Yes.
And told him go ahead, and we have these issues. Yeah? And
Yes.
then that person does his own calculations. He sees what
And
is
goes
there.
and makes the
the
decision.
areas that no, hang on a minute. You see, you do not run a system through browbeating and shouting down people. You don't. You run a system by reasoning with people. I have told you the 17, 18 clauses that were not good
Yeah.
are going to be removed today. Now, what else do you want?
The people are not happy with the 17,
Why?
18. They
Why?
want more.
Why?
Engage
What
with
is
them.
the more?
So that, I
What
wanted
is
to
more?
ask a question.
No. Tell me what's more. What more do you want? Tell me.
Remove the entire bill.
That's
Remove
what
the
I'm
entire
saying.
bill.
Yes.
So we have no
Start-
taxation. We have no bill.
That's
we have,
the que-
we have no
that's the-
finance bill.
That's the question I want to ask you. As a lawyer, Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
as somebody who has been a deputy speaker of Parliament,
Yeah.
what would happen had a majority of members of Parliament voted no last week? Just take us through that scenario. Just create a scenario for us.
Yes.
What if last week on Tuesday
Yes.
we inverted those numbers
Yes.
and a majority
Yes.
had voted no? What would it have meant?
If majority had voted no, then the bill will die.
And what does that mean?
Well, what that means is that the government goes back to the books where the people sit down together, people
Right.
do horse trading, people
Right.
talk.
Right?
Yes. The majority decided if these ones are removed, the
So-
bill, we are going to pass the bill.
So
Hang on a minute.
So
Hang on a minute.
you were asking if the people want us to vote no,
Yes.
what would that mean? You've just answered the question.
Yes.
That is what the people have been saying, Mheshimiwa. Those who are saying
the
reject
people
finance
will
bill
take an issue. Let
are
me-
not saying let's revolutionize this
Remind me the name
government.
again. Latif. Eh?
Latif.
Latif, let me tell you.
They are saying reject. So, Mheshimiwa, you've just confirmed to us that it is possible. It is allowed by even the rules and procedures of Parliament to reject the finance bill.
Why?
For whatever reason.
Look,
It's wrong. Why is it wrong? Because of clause A, clause B, clause 3, clause all of that. All of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mheshimiwa,
okay.
do you know why I asked
remove
you-
this, remove this, remove this.
Mheshimiwa.
They're all removed. Why
Mheshimiwa.
would you still want to reject it?
Mheshimiwa, do you know why I took you back to the time when you were first elected?
Yes.
You were what we call a radical even then.
Yes.
26th October 2023.
Yes.
You wore a Palestinian scarf. to
Absolutely.
Parliament, all right?
Yes.
You were protesting
Yes.
against what was happening in
Palestine.
Gaza.
Yes. Yes.
And you said, look, everybody, including those in Kenya, must support the Palestinian movement and those in Gaza.
Yes.
That's you.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, are you telling me that the you that is represented here,
Yes.
you and I, are essentially age mates?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And I've followed your career.
I know. I know.
So you're telling me that right now you do not see what these young people are actually saying?
What the young people are saying.
You're telling me that if you looked into yourself, you do not see that they actually have a valid point and that they are saying this because somewhere along the line, those who represented them have not represented them as they wish. And they are now saying it. Look, you're saying shouting. They're saying, okay, you didn't hear it. So let us make you hear it now loudly. This is what we would like. You are our representatives. We are now communicating to you. You're telling me they're out of order?
You see, when you communicate with somebody, you go through a process. You say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I'm a businessman also. I had a meeting yesterday. And there was a businessman, another businessman whom we're doing business with, and we're talking about that. And he says, look, this was not done right, this was not done right, this was done right. Okay, what do you want us to do on this? Okay, do this way, do this way. Okay, fine. We signed the contract. And we're performing on the contract now. It's before the end of the day yesterday, we started performance on the contract.
You talked and agreed, didn't you?
You talked and agreed.
Yeah.
This, you sent in representation, sovereignty by the masses is exercised through elected representatives. The elected representatives went there and told the government, no, of the day, sorry, we will not pass this bill as it is. And they asked us, what are the areas of contention? We said, this is contentious, this is contentious, this is contentious. They went back, they discussed, they came back and said, we're removing them all. What do I tell them? No. You know, we've been told by the people on the ground that send the whole thing back.
Yes.
Why?
Because
Why? No, the answer question I'm asking you, Latif.
Because
you have got brains, Latif.
Because it's the beginning of an answer. Because,
yes.
Mheshimiwa, what they're saying,
Yes.
what those who are speaking are saying,
Yes.
and maybe you could engage them,
Yes.
is they're saying the principle behind the drafting of this entire bill is flawed.
How? What's flawed?
Because the thinking is that we need to raise all this money, and yet, where we have not seen the money being spent, the conversation, by the way, here is not just on the tax measures.
Nope.
The conversation, if you listen, is on public finance management.
Yes.
It's on public finance management.
Come with that.
How
Responsibility.
is the money
Public
spent?
finance management.
And the principle that if you
Latif.
listen carefully, and because we've engaged with them, if you listen, what they're saying is the principle of drafting this bill was flawed. The thinking is flawed. Go back and start from square one. How much must we spend? How much do we need to raise through taxation? What is the best way that we can approach this that does not hurt this, does not hurt the other? There are many who are still unhappy with some clauses that are still contained in the finance bill as it is presently. And they're saying, can we have this conversation again from the beginning? That's what they're saying.
Tell me.
They reject finance, and you've told me that it's
me-
possible. The power has been given to Parliament to actually reject a bill in the second reading so that you take it back and say, can we start from square one? The National Treasury has written to Parliament after Tuesday and said, now, if we go with the proposals as they are contained now, with the amendments as they are being proposed now, we are likely to have a shortfall of this. And the impact of that would be that we cut down spending on these crucial areas. There's already a conversation. The people are telling you, their representatives, can we start this conversation again? Can you tell the executive to go back to the drawing board and start again? What's wrong with that?
I'll tell you what's wrong with that. Where in this world Have you seen a democracy in which a budget and a finance bill is done outside by the masses or so-called people demonstrating out there? And the government of the day is told, fashion it in this way. If you don't, the MPs must reject. If they don't reject, we know what to do.
If it hasn't happened, what?
Isn't that the principle of a democracy? Is
No,
it?
Yes.
no.
Is
no,
that not the principle?
No.
of democracy?
No. The principle of democracy is not
Especially
anarchy.
in our constitution,
It's
where
not
there is
anarchy.
public
It's
participation.
not-
What is the principle of public participation? It is
By the way,
come and engage the
can
people.
I explain to you
Isn't it?
something?
Yes.
Can I explain to you something? And sometimes it's good to understand some of these things, the way they function.
Yes,
We don't have a law on public participation.
not yet. We have a
Do you know
principle
what
in the
public
Constitution.
participation is? Do you know who comes to public participation?
Tell us.
I am in JLAC, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee
Yes.
in Parliament.
Yes,
It's just a few organized sectors of the society.
yes.
See, a few institutions were organized. LSK, you know what I mean, eh? Those are the ones who come to you. It's not public in the sense you think it is. But having said that, the public will give you their inputs, but then you collect, and as a government, you decide what to leave out
Yes,
and what to take in.
with reason.
That's why in countries elsewhere, you have different ideological persuasions and manifestos. There are those who insist on protecting the business, capitalist, like the Tories in the UK. There are those who want to create more employment and are more social democratic and more inclined towards the common man out there, how to do it. And each one of them, when they come, they put up their policies the way they want. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So you can give suggestions, but at the end of the day, it's the government of the day that prepares that finance bill as well as the budget at the end of it. If you want to tell me the masses or these boys who are running around and girls and everybody else are going to prepare the budget, hang on. Let me just finish. You're basically saying, and this is exactly what happened. Let me tell you one thing. That's exactly how things like the Arab Spring started last time. You get my point? Arab Spring were young Arabs, Libyans, and Syrians who were living in the West, who were smuggled back into the country to take up arms against the regimes that were there.
Successfully.
Where is Libya today? Where is Syria today? Where are those boys today? Where is the West that sent them there today? The only thing they're doing is that now they have got the Libyan oil almost for free, and they are sucking it out like hell. And Libya is dead.
Libya was an Arab Spring.
Hang on, let me explain to
Libya
you.
was NATO.
No, they were all within that same period. Syria, what happened to